this session some of the industry use cases and how each one of us can be riding this wave. Okay, we'll start. Let me share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, we can.
Okay. Okay, let's start then. Okay. Industry for almost 27 years now. Currently, I'm a VP and a Chief Technology and Innovation Officer at Capgemini. Some of the things I've done here at including the 13 years I was at Microsoft and all the 2.5 years at Geo. All along, I was always doing something to do with building large systems and all powered by data, analytics, and AI. Came back to India, universities, IIT, IIMs, BITS Pilani, and all, and regularly do sessions there. Published 2 books. Now a publisher, I'm a professional coach as well. We all are busy, right? We all, at least we think we are busy. Some of the elements we learn while we are going through our education, or when we are doing this, we always get to know something new. The fact that all of you are attending this session, that means you are probably going to learn something new today. So that's definitely a good start. So we'll be able to cover some of the topic for your interest today. This is a very interesting slide. I've been using this slide for the last couple of years. Advice. Taking advice from the right people. Some of you from other institutes. When you're going through some of the learnings, sometimes you have questions, sometimes you ask your seniors, sometimes you ask some of the industry professional, you get certain inputs, advice, guidance. My point here is some of the guidance may not be the perfect one for you. Make sure you take advice from the right people, right seniors and all, not necessarily 1, 2, 3, 4 years senior, but more than that. My whole journey of 27 years, it started in 1995. Focus was primary to focus on C language, looking at what rules can I do on data, and I can build some systems out of that. Moved to Microsoft US and work for those, some first AI algorithm. I had the opportunity to write there. And of course, analytics and office product, multiple of those things were there. More about data-driven innovation. Today, I'm going to give a lot of those examples about how this works in the industry, so that when you are riding this wave, you will be a lot more ready for those. And then, of course, competing on analytics. When I've seen that when Microsoft started losing products to Google, data analytics was not there for some of the products. That was some other area where Microsoft lost it. Moved back to India, worked for the companies and all. The more focus on data culture. And now my focus is future of data. Why are we talking about data so much today? The current business landscape, we all know. You all have choice. To go from one place to other place, you're taking Uber or you're taking Ola. When you're ordering something from Amazon or Flipkart, when you're ordering food from Swiggy or Zomato, everywhere we have choice. So what do we normally do? We one application, which is our primary affinity. If that doesn't work, we go to next one. Does not work means what? Challenges. You might have observed to respond. Some of this thing doesn't work in the way it's supposed to work. All those practical challenges makes it difficult for people to use those products. For example, let's say you're trying to book Uber. It takes 7.2 seconds is the average which we normally humans in India, people in India will be able to wait for application to respond. Let's say Uber takes more than
It's not audible.
Think about it, right? If you are, hello? Yeah.
Audible now, sir.
Hello. Okay. Sorry, I think there was a blip or something in the internet. Sorry about that. So I'm just on the user. Users have choice. When we talk about choice, if
Sorry, sir. Again, it is not audible.
So video stream and audio stream paused again.
option is to understand the usage. Is exactly the purpose of each of the application. So now, when you are thinking about a startup, when you're thinking about the product and all, make sure those are some of the top of the mind, which means how can I leverage data? How can I leverage artificial intelligence for innovation so that more and more user come to my site, more and more user come to me for using it rather than somebody else. And then essentially compete on data analytics and all. So all these things combination is our current business landscape. And that's why it become more and more important to be fully aware of those. The jobs and everything are in this area. A lot of them, good ones are there. And toward the end of the session, I'll talk about those lists as well. Okay. Now let's talk about
Sir, please turn off your video. Your network bandwidth is not good enough to support video and audio at the same time.
Sorry. Okay, let me switch my internet connection. 1 second. I think there's an issue with the network. Let me just switch it.
Because ultimately, once you receive that data, you will have to do some string processing, correct? Because any data coming from file, we will contain text. And in order to process that text, so for example, CSV, then it will be a comma separate text.
Yeah, Ravi. Ravi, you had a question? Hello? Okay. I hope this is better. I just switched the network connection now. Hopefully this should be better now.
Sorry to interrupt, Mukesh, sir,
yeah.
but could you start from the first slide, like users, because there was frequent connection drops in between as well. So it would seem
sure,
good.
Pushpinder, I can do that. Sure. Let me share my screen again. I'll start from this slide. Yeah. Sorry about that. Sometimes the network, that's why I keep backup always with me. So,
Thanks.
Okay. So let's start with this again. There was frequent drop in this slide. So where I was on the point wherein we talked about users have choice. When users have choice, we move to the next one. Now think about it. You were planning to book Uber and Uber showed you, let's say, 500 rupees to go from one place to other place. And you decided to go to Ola, book it, whatever the price was, let's say 350. Does Uber know that you were actually trying to book and then you move to Ola? Okay, maybe not. If they don't get it, if they don't track that point, they'll always be flying blind. They say, hey, I gave 500% didn't book it. What can I do? No, that's not the answer. Understand why did the person did not book? Was it the price? Was it the wait time? Was it something else? We don't know. The fact that you went and did a search, there's a very high probability that you were about to book to the right there. So 500 rupees lost opportunity for Uber. If those are not tracked well, but of course, if you try this 3 times in a row and then 4 times you book it, that doesn't mean the first time was lost opportunity. It's just that cycle. You were there in that window. You're trying, and then you say, "Wait, let me be ready before I book the ring. Let me be ready before I book the ring." You keep checking the price. Price fluctuate 20 rupees, 30 rupees at some point. That is, you count one transaction. But if you try to book and then you don't book it and for 5 minutes or 10 minutes and you don't book it at all, after some time that record becomes the lost opportunity record. Now, how do you do that part? And you can argue, of course, you were just trying to find the price, but you're not planning to book anyway. But the probability of that is very low, by the way. Need to understand usage and innovate, because your expectation was anytime, anywhere on any device. and then you go to the price of your liking. It worked or it did not work. But now what you're doing is you are saying, okay, fine, I will understand the usage and then I'll innovate on top of it. That's exactly what you want to do from Uber side of it. And finally, all this part can be used for competing. Once I compete, what will I say? Okay, fine. I see a pattern that Mukesh is trying and never books it on Uber. So maybe there is something better. Some the offers are better for him in some other place, and that's why he's not booking it. Maybe something else, right? All those things are your current business landscape. This makes it more important for you to be ready to use data for innovation. He created these 4 quadrants. Must have is on the right side bottom, which means there are items for any product. It should must have. If it doesn't have, you cannot work. And there are something which is more in Hindi, like there's an ad called Amazon ad, more or dikhao. In English, more means you want more of something. And on Amazon, you want to see more options for anything and everything. Then there is delight. Delight means you were okay with the product, but you are something which is like, wow, that's a delight part. And there are some dissatisfied, yeah, but you still take the product. The example is mobile phone, 18-year-old slide, mobile phone, wherein at that time, 18 years back, having an email on the phone was a wow. Okay, MP3 was a wow. Smart dialing was a wow. But the basic part, which is basic necessity must have, was ability to make and receive a phone call. What Kano suggested, over a period of time, the more the dissatisfier and the delight, all of them becomes must have. Must have, which means the expectation is that everything that should be always working. That is exactly what the business expectation move over a period of time. The learning over here is if you don't innovate, you get outdated. That's what happened with some of the Fortune, 50% of the Fortune 100 companies in the past. Canon, we know that, right? This Kodak, all of those, they had opportunity, but they decided not to innovate or whatever the reason was. Now think about the mobile phone now. We are already having all this feature, plus so many things. And even today, right? We think about delight. There are only few delight options are there. But at some point, iPhone or Samsung or somebody, they innovate like you say, wow, this is really good. But sometimes we may not even have thought about it. Like curved screen, foldable screens, all of those things, were they really required? I don't know. But it becomes wow. Same question can be asked 18 years back. Where it was it really required to have email on the phone? Maybe now we can say, look at maybe cameras. I don't know. Those are some of the things on business expectation. Now the next point, where you want to go. Some of you might be already thinking about career in data science. If you already know where you're going, perfect. If you don't know, any road is fine. Any career is fine for you if you're not sure about it. The point over here is in this session, I'm going to focus on the current waves on AI analytics and data science and all those. Let's head. Hopefully, you'll be able to get some ideas around those. The digital part I would like to highlight here is some of the companies. Some of the companies are Digirati, which we call it. Some of those things are both in terms of transforming. Some of the digital intensity is high and some of the transformation intensity is high. These are the typical high-tech companies. Digirati. The reason I'm sharing this slide here is so that you are very much aware of how some of the companies are innovating, what sectors are innovating and all. Sometimes you want to ride with the leaders and sometimes you want to be with the company who is evolving so that you can have more learning and more influence on those. The conservative companies are there, which are low on digital, but definitely they want to transform. Fashionists, which are mostly for fashion, just to show something is there, where the revenue efficiency always increases, but profitability is as a challenge there, where the digital intensity is high, but you're not able to transform that yet. Travel and all are usually in this category. And of course, there are lots of beginners. What are the companies we're talking about here? We're talking about companies like high-tech, retail, banking are in the Digirati area, whereas the travel and telecom are still in the fashionist area, where they think they are doing digital, they do something well, but they're not transformed enough compared to pharmaceutical, consumer product manufacturing, who are still in the beginner stage. So if somebody want to make a career, good career there, you could be riding the wave with them. I would suggest definitely that will be easier compared to going with only high tech and the retail and banking. But at the same time, sometimes you want to just be with the good companies who are already mature and all. That could be the area, depending on what kick gives you the kick. For me, always the kick was always high tech, retail, and banking. But just 4 years back, I moved myself to the bottom quadrant on the beginners, because now I'm able to work with the consumer product manufacturing companies at Capgemini, transforming their business, because that's what I am enjoying right now. So again, you could be phases in your career as well. So overall percentage of being the author of this book, Leading Digital, have done some research, and only 1% of the companies are fashionists. Several companies are in the beginner area, and they're slowly moving into the Digirati area. Some of the example I want you to know, this slide is very, very interesting one. If you look at the brand, right? Under Armour, Electronic Arts, Nike, Adidas, Coca-Cola, T-Mobile. One of the companies, they created something called Zipty, Zipty Z. What is Zipty Z? Zipty Z, Zipty Z like Nifty, Nifty like Zipty. So what they did was they created like an index for all the companies who are more focused on Gen Z. More focused on Gen Z, they created an index, and then they did a comparison with this part. Slightly old slide. I'm still waiting for the new slide, 4-year-old slide, more than 4 years actually, 5 years now. So the slide actually talks about they gave better return in SPX index compared to what they have for Zipty gave better result than SPX. So you got an idea about it, of the companies who focus. These slides, if you look at it, we talked about people have choice. Then we talk about innovation need to happen in this area. Then we talk about digital transformation, and the company we focus on those. All these elements comes together finally of what you build. Some of you might be thinking about building a startup. Some of you might be getting into entrepreneurship. Sometimes some people might be joining a large firms. How do you take some of these learnings and go forward on the decision? Now, let me give you an example of decision making across. Now, if you see anything and everything which you interact with has something of the data. Your curious mindset, your curious hat, you should be wearing it so that you are aware what is happening here, why I'm getting this advertisement, why I'm getting these things for me. Now, if you look at it, how does that work? For example, you do a search. You do a search on, let's say, a food. Now, think about it. On Google, on Bing, on other sites, let's say Pizza Hut is paying 5 rupees for the ad. Domino's 7 rupees. McDonald's, let's say 3 rupees. Which one should be shown? Your answer would be the one which is paying the highest one. Normally, that's the case. That may not be good, by the way, because only when somebody click on the ad, they get money. So you might be showing the ad which is fetching highest money, but if nobody clicks on it, it's a wastage of space. Compared to the probability of Mukesh clicking on the ad is high for, let's say, Pizza Hut, even though they are paying 3 rupees, but the probability is high. You might want to position that ad compared to McDonald's ad, which might be paying high, but the probability is low. How do you decide all those parts? All these things are done by data, data-driven decisions. So the reason I'm giving you the example, so that you are aware of it, that whatever you see online, there is a probability, there is a data science, there is an analytic engine running behind it, using artificial intelligence, using personalization, using retargeting, all those buzzwords, they give you the ad, which is you are more likely to click on it. Yes, you may not have clicked ad in the last, let's say, last 1,000 ad, you have only clicked 2 ads, which is fine. That's the percentage they're looking for. They may not be looking for all the ads shown to you will be clicking, but only these 2 ads which you have clicked, that gives them enough information what you like, what you don't like. Accordingly, they keep optimizing the algorithm. The home, should I give the home loan, or should I give you the credit card to this person, right? So those parts also will have question, right? So you need probability. What is the probability of success? What is the probability that the person will not be defaulter? What is the probability that the credit card will be not a defaulter, or a person will not run away with the credit, right? So all those parts are the one which are you're giving the data decision making. You're giving the probability of those. Accordingly, the home loan is approved, or credit card is approved or not approved, transaction is fraudulent or not, all of those parts. Now let's talk about the other part, which is video app. Let's say YouTube, Netflix, or Amazon Prime, Zulu, any of this app, right? Think about it. Why and how you get an ad there? Why and how you get another video after you finish any video? So just to give you an example, about a year back, I was trying to watch a YouTube video and old video, 30-year-old song, something. And then automatically that video was over and automatically the next video started. When the next video started, it was from the same era, 30-year-old era. And I was surprised to see that, wow, it was not matching the things with what I was seeing and all, but just 30-year-old. That was good enough information, good enough. Continue to watch without pressing a button. Next song, video. Almost an hour I watched all this. They might have created good ad revenue out of that as well. But why was that case? That was because these people have spent a lot of money, data, analytics and all on recommendation, so that if they want engagement, if you're spending 1 hour on the application, they get more money from the advertisement. Data-driven decision. Okay. What recommendation can be given on e-commerce? Now, you'll be surprised to know Amazon, they make good percentage of revenue just from recommendation. I'm going to ask the question. You can put your answers in the chat window. The question is, what percentage of sale Amazon US website does on books with using recommendation? Okay, I put the question in the chat window. You can answer those. What percentage of sale of Amazon US website for books happens because of recommendation engine? Percentage, 30 to 40%, 70%, any other? 60%. Okay, 20, 25. Now 90% is good. High, 90%. I wish it was. Okay, 5%, 8 to 15%. Okay, now you see some people have given 10%, some people have given 90%. Okay, huge range. Okay, now and some people have given the right answer, but nobody has given the exact answer, by the way. But yeah, some people have close enough. So people who have given 60%, people who have given 70%, and people who have given 60 to 70%, all of you are right. The answer is 65.1%. 65. Now 65.1%. Now imagine 65.1% of the sale on Amazon US books website that happened because of recommendation engine, which means how many happened because of search? Is only 34.9%. Okay, so which means 65.1%. Now if you look at these numbers, 34 and 65, it actually comes down to somewhere around 1:3. It means you go there to buy one book, you end up buying 3 books. Okay, huge, 200% more sale, 200% more sale. Okay, on the Amazon site, India site is also fine. Try it out. You search for a book and see the recommendation. A very high chances that you will be able to see the recommendation of the books which you really want. Just about 2 years back, I was doing a session for another IIT, and I was going to talk about, it was an in-person session. No, in-person session was 5 years back, but anyway, so it was on design thinking. So I was looking at some of the books, and I saw the book called About Face on Amazon India site. About to buy the book. It was my personal expense. I was about to buy the book when I see a lot of recommendation. 6 books I bought on that day, by the way. Okay. The recommendation was so good. I like the books a lot. So that's what the power of recommendation is. If the recommendation is good, you get more money. As simple as that. Okay. Supply chain logistic, release the movie. Where should I release? No, you saw a recent trend of boycotting the movies and all, right? It was a very interesting one. So how do I determine which location in Mumbai, which location in Bangalore, Pune, Hyderabad, Madras, Chennai, Kolkata, Delhi, which location I should be releasing movie and how much people I can expect and all. We have already done it for some of the companies, by the way. Okay. And of course, why are people leaving my app? All these parts, each and every of them, there is something about data. We have to think about data. We have to use the data to be able to take better decision on those areas. Okay. Now let's talk about some more examples, and then I'll open up for question towards the end. We talked about data, but then also let's go back one step back and talk about data. Qualitative and quantitative. Let's say you order something from Zomato, you get an email 1 to 10 rating, and then you give some data point 1 to 10 rating. That is your quantitative data. Compared to you put a text which says, the packing was not good, it was not something textual. Qualitative data. It also sometimes called unstructured data. Structured data, unstructured data. So normally there are a lot of data in the structured and a lot of data in unstructured. The question to all of you, give example of unstructured data. Give examples. Unstructured data. Audio, video. And this is image. These are all your unstructured data. Now imagine you got some more feedbacks. Feedback also is there, very good. Review, comments, speech. Speech is fine, audio is covered. But always remember, even numeric data can be unstructured. Think about it. I'm sure you all have used Excel. When you're using Excel, you would have noticed all the fields and all. If you keep it machine readable as a CSV, comma separated values, it works. You can use it anywhere. But if you start highlighting, if you start doing the total column, if you start doing something which is not structured, you start merging columns, you start splitting columns and all. Now what happens after that? If you put text as a number and all, it becomes unstructured. So it's not just all the images, text and all, but even the numeric value which cannot be understood easily, it becomes your unstructured data. It also talk about activity or inactivity. Think about it. Since 5:03 p.m. today evening, you all are inactive on WhatsApp. Anybody trying to reach you, it will use this last seen 5:03 p.m. That's your inactivity. That itself is generating data. Your activity definitely generates data, but inactivity also. Majority of the reading material which you're going to read, it talks about any activity, every activity generates data. I don't believe in that. I believe, yes, activity generates data, but also inactivity generates data. So just keep those in back of your mind. Because data tells a lot about somebody. You need to understand the intent. Now let's understand the intent from each one of you. 2020. Okay. Now, when I say 2020, what comes to your mind? Okay, COVID. Somebody has given answer, so don't repeat the word COVID. Put something else. Don't repeat the answer. You have to give your answer. Parle Biscuit 2020 is there. Olympic is there. What else? Lockdown. Okay, I told you guys, China, COVID, lockdown, don't use that. Here is fine. Any other? Cricket I seen, yes. What else? Profit percentage. I didn't understand profit percentage. Madhu, you are still on COVID. Move out of COVID. Work from home, of course, is good. My class 10th exam. Okay, Kunal, that's good. Some interesting word. Okay, 2020, there is a book by Dr. Abdul Kalam. 2020, I Vision. Yes, Euro 2020. 2020, there is a talk show in UK, and 2020, there is a weight loss program in US. If 2020 has so much meaning, how do you determine what are you looking for? How do you know that intent? IPL, of course, is there. How do you know the intent of the person who is saying 2020? This is exactly what we want the system to be able to understand the intent. So for me, 2020 have 10 meanings. We talked about cricket, we talked about biscuit, we talked about Euro 2020, we talked about COVID, we talked about vision, we talked about Dr. Abdul Kalam's book, talk show, weight loss program, all of those. Now, when I search for 2020 on Google, what should I get? That's the question. And if I'm searching something, today I'm not interested in the Parle 2020 biscuit, but if I always get the first link as Parle biscuit, I would after some time say, no, Google doesn't get it. Google is not good. even though the answer is right. So it's not enough for the answer to be right. It is enough for the answer to be right as per the intent of the person at that moment of time. I'm not a big cricket fan, by the way, but sometimes when the cricket is on, I might just want to look at the scores. And in that case, I just go to Google and do 2020, just so that I can see the score, what is available there, right? Okay. For you to know. And of course, whatever we talked about, right? It should have a rupee or a dollar symbol. Otherwise, it's not useful. Any data analytics project is not useful if you don't put it, the business value out of it. So let's talk about some of the case studies. Some of you may have seen this dialog box. Some of you may have seen this, right? When you crash any Office application on Microsoft product, you see this button, send error report. When I came up with this idea about 23 years back, my manager told me that's the most pathetic idea I ever heard. I asked, why pathetic? He said, Mukesh, nobody will click the button. And he was right. Only 1.4% people click the button. Then the product is used by hundreds of millions of users. 1.4% is more than enough. The purpose of this button was to collect the data. Collect the data, why the crash is happening. Is it happening because of the code? Is it happening because of scenario? Is it happening because of user data? Machine config browser, it could be any combination. So think about it. If you want to collect data, if you want to get something, how would you go about doing this? There's a starting point. We talked about data, right? So data has to be there. Of course, when you click on the sender report, the personally identified information is never captured. It's there in the details and you can hopefully get there. I'm sure you all know about Geo. When the Geo was launched, was how would you ensure that the quality of network is good? You might have observed it's been 6 years now, September 2016, 6 years now. Some of you may have had Geo at that time. Some of you may not have had that time, considering your age and you're still a student here right now. But think about it. Every few days, every few weeks, every few months, the quality was improving drastically. How was it done? It was done by silent listening. What is silent listening? Capturing the data of the usage of your phone. For example, if I'm with my Geo phone and I have 2 bars or 1 bar or 3 bar, silent listening will capture that Mukesh at this latitude longitude location had only 2 bars. Mukesh at this latitude longitude location, his call was dropped. Mukesh at this location had only have 5 bars. If I continue to capture this every minute, every 5 minutes, I have enough data point for Mukesh's path to know where he had good signal, where he had bad signal. But Geo doesn't care about Mukesh. Geo cares about the whole population, which means I want to find out 10 locations in Mumbai where the network quality is really poor based on the data. At least I want 1,000 people who have bad quality. You don't always call and say, hey, I had bad quality experience at this location. What do you normally do? Your network is there. You have certain bars. That's it. Sometimes you just drop it. Sometimes after some time bad experience, you just move to Airtel or Vodafone. But if you are still on the Geo, which means they want to understand and they want to see how can I improvise the quality for that person. The clustering technique is used there. And then we started predicting. That's what some of the algorithm I wrote at that time. We'll give a ticket for the network engineer to determine what the bad quality is and improvise the quality in that area. No wonder every few weeks, every few months, the quality was improving in those area. I don't know what the current status is. I no longer work for Geo, but that's what it happened. It improved the quality overall for majority of the people. Maybe there's a threshold of 50 users or 100 users or 10 users. I don't know that, but that's what the quality improves. Some users, in the past also, I've given this session to somebody else. They said, hey, my Geo is in my area is still bad. Or possibly, again, I'm not there to solve that problem right now, but the usage pattern, you can find out which location, how much network is covered, how much bandwidth is covered, consumed, all those parts. My favorite, junk filter. Okay. I want you to write down what is junk in your terms, junk email. Okay. Junk email. By the way, Utkarsh has given one more example. Education policy. That's a very interesting one. 2020 education policy, because that might be the hot topic currently in India. More people talking about 2020 education policy. Unnecessary email, spam. Spam is another word for junk, by the way. Any other thoughts? What is a junk email? Advertisements. Shilpa, Utkarsh, most of the funding for most of the free apps you use is because of advertising. If you don't got advertising, then how can they survive? All the YouTube and all this free content you're using, right? Offers too old and all. Fine. Good. Bill Gates used to get 15,000 junk email per day. 15,000 junk email per day. Definition of junk, not important, whatever that is, right? So now think about it. Are you going to, this is the algorithm, are you going to read a junk email for more than 5 seconds? Are you going to delete an important email in less than 3 seconds? Mostly the answer is no. If that's the case, if I can capture your behavior with the email, how many seconds you do spend on that email, and then I use that to improvise my algorithm on junk and say, hey, for Mukesh, for Utkarsh, for Sheetal, for Supriya, this set of emails are junk. This set of emails are not junk. For example, I like Amazon email, but I don't like Flipkart emails. In those cases, I can actually optimize my algorithm to say this is junk for me or this is not junk for me. This is exactly what was done about 23 years back. This was the first ever algorithm written for Microsoft to improvise junk email filtering for Bill Gates from 15,000 email per day. 94% of the email we were able to catch just by looking at the pattern of Bill Gates and his assistant of how they read and delete the emails and so on. Okay. Couple of more slides, then I'll open up for questions. You might have also seen search results. You might have seen the links, blue link. The question was why the search the results are blue in color. Okay, nobody had the answer that time. Somebody said, okay, because it's good, it's cool, it's trust, it's the data. But why a particular color of search? Why not darker blue? Why not lighter blue color? Okay. So based on those, we determine whether the color of what should be the blue. Instead of just deciding that my favorite blue color, we'll keep it. We just said, okay, fine, let us keep the blue color, which is the one which is giving us better results. So think about running an experiment, 10% people getting different shades of blue, looking at the responses to that and getting the output and seeing how best the response are or which shade of blue and accordingly changing the color of those. Again, data-driven decision based on the experiments. Experimentation we talked about. Now on e-commerce side, right? We talked about recommendation things. We talked about those. The way it works normally is there are several data points which we have given. For example, if you purchase these 10 other things you have purchased. Now people who have purchased this have also purchased that. There's a commonality of the content, there's a commonality of certain things on this page, the flow, everything. If you start capturing at the data and then you correlate, it looks like, yeah, Mukesh has purchased this, next item he will purchase that. Okay, this item purchase, that item purchase. Okay, let me give you one more example. Let's say you buy bread. Okay, what is the next item you blue is remembered by brain? Yes, Farik, that is true, but which shade of blue? Okay, yes, so bread, jam, butter, anything else? Eggs. Fine, let's keep it 3 for now. But if I buy jam, okay, milk is also there, spread is also there. If I buy jam, whatever you call it, what will be the next item you're going to purchase? Bread, right? Now look at the difference between the two. You're buying both the items in the same transaction. How do you know which is influencing what? Okay, so let's say if you're buying bread, you can buy something else. But if you are buying jam, you're most likely going to buy bread. The probability of jam influencing bread is higher than probability of bread influencing jam purchase. That's why you see most of the advertisement, most of the offers are on jam and not on the bread. So on and so forth. There are a lot of things happen. It's called propensity. It's also called the market basket analysis, wherein you look at it, which product influencing what product purchase. Again, on data. A lot of these things goes into the e-commerce side. Rather than selling some of this product, they try to sell a product which influences other product purchase. You're not going to buy an iPad cover and then you're going to buy an iPad. You're going to buy an iPad first and then the iPad cover normally, right? So all those things and all are done understanding about this part. So cheese spread, bread, and definitely will be good. Cool. Okay. Now look at this example on the top. On the top, there is artificial intelligence based system, which is looking at the person's face, looking at the emotion of the person. This is done for a cruise line, which is we started sailing after COVID lockdown went away. The purpose was to see what is the person's preferences and all, so that when the boat docks or the cruise docks at a port, these kind of things can be activities that be given to this particular person. And the face is the recognition, so no credit card is required. Based on the facial authentication, the person transaction can be completed, and then continue to look at what recommended activities will be there, probability, and accordingly giving those to us so that we can do cross sell while the person is there. Not just cross sell. The person is really happy because they say, "Hey, wow, you really did good recommendation for me," rather than recommending 10 different things to the person and nothing works for them. What you see on the bottom is the audience analytics to be able to see during a talk show or during a show on the TV, assuming the audience is true. Okay, you're seeing lots of people, and you're seeing the people who are smiling, who are the audience things are captured in real time and shows how much is the emotion, what gender, what age people are, and accordingly how many people are really smiling. This is an interesting one. We did it for one of the TV channel in Australia. The purpose was for them was this, which are the good places where we can show an ad depending on what these people are smiling and all. For example, if it is like the Kapil Sharma show or whatever, right? If a person wears really like it or not like it, if I look at this, if I really find out that people really like it, I can place an ad according to that, so that I can make some good revenue out of it, and or give the recommendation to the producer that hey, these are places that people really don't like, and people started falling down. All those parts. Okay. So in conclusion, so what we really want to see, each of this sector, each of this area, there are enough opportunities with data, be it marketing, be it identity management, be it risk mitigation, be it customer understanding, transaction monitoring, to be any of those part operations. Each of this area, there enough work on the data. Every company want to go for data. So this is a good time to get into those. And then we coming up with this idea, suggestion, and all what could be the one which you will be building some solution. We are doing some startup in one of this area. While doing the startup, don't start boiling the ocean. Choose one or two area and then do really well in that area. So some of this report, this is a very old report, more than 10 years old. The sexual job of 21st century, our business review. Okay, and this this was published, and I think it's coming true now. $500 billion business. This was published about 3 years back. Bloomberg talking about how big data analytics and all comes there. Right, shortage of data scientists is a serious problem. Even at Capgemini, some of the insights and data center of excellence what we have, we do a lot of those work in this area as well. And in Chennai, we have partnered with Satya University. We have an MOU in place where we do some of the work there. We do some research, and some of the people are groomed in this area as well. So if you do a quick search, this is slightly old slide, but I think the numbers are very much true. We did this search. You'll see how many people. The jobs, the type of jobs in data scientist, data analytics, machine learning, business analytics. A lot of those jobs are there in thousands across India. Definitely, you could be taking one of these jobs, or you could be getting your own startups created around those as well. Okay. Bipin is asking a question. Is this legal? Bipin, can you elaborate? Which one are you referring to is legal? Are you talking about this video or something? I don't know which one are you referring to legal. Yes, the video you're referring to AI audience. Okay. See, legality. I'm not a legal expert here. You have to look at it what the respective local laws of that country is. So normally I've seen that document because this channel actually captures those. They have a disclaimer saying that you will be filmed in this session, and you give consent, or you will be filmed and will be given, and there's no liability around those. So that's what I've seen them getting a consent signed. Doing AI on top of it and all of those parts, and part and parcel of those long language which is written there, that we might use this, we might use that to do that part. This was a proof of concept to be able to do that, and this is a show which is happening there. Mostly when we attend this thing, we give a consent around those. So that was the thing. Okay, last slide. Okay, industry expectation. So what does the industry really expect? The industry really explain that, are you able to see how things work? So if I ask you this question, how does Uber determine which person should get the Uber? If there are 10 people requesting a number, only 5 are available in the region. So 5 people are going to get a message, no Uber available. How do people decide? How do Uber decide that which one to get? If I ask this question, if you don't know the answer, I might think that, okay, fine, you probably are not aware of how things work. How does Google Map work? Okay, how does the Amazon recommendation system work? How does YouTube work? How does this the content get flagged of a copyright infringement? All those parts and parcel of things which you should be able to know how things work. Your curiosity, your ability to learn this faster will definitely good. How well are you leveraging data for business value? Those are some of the interview questions, especially for high-end interviews, especially for some of the top companies. They will be expecting you to know how analytics model work, coming up with the idea. So if I give you, hey, you can do whatever you want with the data, tell me what we'll do, right? Can you come up with the idea on the fly? Coming with the idea and then doing this, or of course, upskilling. Are you ready to learn on your own? So people ask, okay, what do you do? I've done this course, I've done these studies, I've done this from IIT Madras. Okay, the people, okay, fine. What have you done on your own? If you don't have answers, people may think, oh, you're not very upskilling. The summary of all of those is jack of all trade, master of some, not none. Be the person who knows anything and everything, so that you can be a lot more employable and all. Okay. So the next 30 technologies, you can think about artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, mobile, all those parts are part and parcel of those. Blockchain, yes and no, I would say, because it has some running into bad weather right now, but hopefully the idea is good, but the way it's implemented is not right. But of course, there might be some research going on further to improvise it further. Okay. So some of the future, if you see, you're looking at more data literacy, discovery, collaborative intelligence. You're talking about more predictive, proactive, the whole data part of getting commoditized. You saw, right, recently I think in the winter session, it will be tabled in Parliament, the data protection law. In the earlier version of data protection laws, I was part of the Niti Aayog committee who actually drafted that bill, and I gave some of my inputs there as well. And it was very interesting to see how it's getting evolved. Hopefully, this will give you some more insight about how data can be commoditized and what parts are legal and not legal of using certain data. I would suggest majority of the personal data should never be used. That is my recommendation. Yes, but we'll have to see how this data thing evolve over a period of time. Getting more of our insights as a service, insights, self-service, analytics and all, tighter integration between human and all, explainability, sustainability, ethical AI, all those parts and parcels will be the next big thing in the industry. And last but not the least, the whole thing evolvement around data scientists and all will be data scientists and all will be definitely useful there. Okay, my learning in my 27 years of professional experience, I always use the word "puchne mein kya jata hai" in English. Try. Just try. There is some chance of getting it. If you don't try, definitely you're not getting it. So that is something which I encourage you to do. A lot more trying and all. Person with a new idea is crank until the idea succeeds. That is what I always believe. So it's okay to have a good idea, even if it's people say you are crank. Results are always important. Just activities are not enough. If somebody can find a mistake, why can't you yourself find? Some of those things are very, very crucial. Marks, knowledge is more important. 3 Idiots, I copied this from. Success and marks will definitely follow after that. Subchintak in English, well-wisher. Focus on those parts. Subchintak gives you slightly better meaning there, but definitely well-wisher is the English word for that. You can give you good feedback. Take those feedback. Do whatever you do, everyday activity, plan, track, improve what you do, say what you do what you say. There's learning everywhere. Try to tap into all the learnings there. Okay. And last, 9th point, and then 10, do what you enjoy. One thing I learned in my 27 years experience, maybe there are 6 months which I did not enjoy. Most of the time, I enjoyed whatever I was doing. I was having fun. It felt like I was doing my hobby and then somebody's paying me for that. Very, very good to be here. And last point, give back time to community. This is how I give back time to community of sharing my knowledge. With that, I'm going to pause here. I want you to ask any question you may have on the chat window. We still have about a few minutes, and I'm okay to extend the session if required. Please put your question in the chat window. Is the government using AIML? Lots of them. By the way, I was invited by Indian Navy in Jamnagar to deliver a session for the leadership team. And regularly, I do interact with some of the government departments. Also, I was a advisor to one of the Chandrababu Naidu's college, IIDT in Tirupati as well. So definitely, a lot of these colleges are using those parts. A lot of this university are using it. Government is using it, especially for Aadhaar. A lot of AIML was used. Plus also for demonetization, also some of the trade, I think those analytics was used there. Okay, so I see some more questions there. In the starting point of this session, you mentioned that make effective decision when you require existing data. Either if there is a case of trading platform with a graph and data coming randomly and known, want to create a bot or logic, how can you bot make decision? Okay, so question here is from Kunal that if we need existing data, but what if the data is coming in graph or it's random in nature? That will always be the case, right? The data normally will not come in the perfect fashion, perfect Excel file, what you want. You have to spend a lot of time. In fact, in my experience working at Capgemini and in the past, the data which comes out around 72%. 72% of the time is spent collecting the data, and the remaining 27 out of that, about 20% time is only spent on analysis, which means that a lot of things has to be done to get the data in the format which can be used and consumed. Just a second. Yeah. Okay. So that's what some of the challenges are. So definitely it's a start. We have to start someplace. So starting the place where you're collecting the data, looking at it and all will be done. And of course, you can create a bot out of it. Whatever data you're talking about, all the data is available. Some of them through API, some of them paid, some of them free. So it's okay to look for the data, but you need to know what you're looking for. And you'll find that the data is available for a price. Whatever you see on finance.yahoo.com or any other moneycontrol.com, everything is available on API if you purchase it. If you want to purchase it either from them or from their original provider. How is the role of data scientist different from AIML role? So I would say the role is actually there's overlap. A lot of the company use the generic term called data scientist for all these roles included. So if you look for there are 77,000 jobs which I showed a few minutes back. If you look for any of the data science job description, you will see some overlap of AI, ML, and so on and so forth. So don't have to worry too much about it. There is very few roles which is called AI engineer, but there are also if you look at the description, it's actually talking about same thing what data scientist is required. There's a lot of overlap. I'm not saying they are same, but there are a lot of overlap. Okay, Mandira, you can directly send me a message and we can discuss this further. Okay, it's Mukesh.Jain, my email address. How does Amazon Flipkart view time spent on app versus commodities bot? Adarsham, this is very good important point. It's not just about time spent. They want people to come in and they track what all you saw. There are a few things you do. One was shown to you, which is a recommendation or something, browse or whatever, something which was you searched. Search is explicit message and what you saw was implicit, right? So it takes into those consideration and then does it. It was shown to you, but you did not click, which means you may not like it, probably, because you cannot click 3 items at the same time, right, on the mobile phone. But if you search, you really want it. Those are taken into consideration for you showing you to the next recommendation. And then what you see, same thing on YouTube. You go to youtube.com, you'll show you some recommendation. Do a F5 first, F5 refresh. You'll see some of them changes, but 1 or 2 will remain same. You do F5 again, you do 5 or 6 times F5, or 1 or 2 will go away. It taking the input that hey, I showed 7 to Mukesh, he did not like it. You will see normally it's 7. Sometimes it's 8, but normally it's 7. And then you refresh it 3 or 4 times, and then it tells you on the browser I'm talking about, and then it will change, keep changing it. That's how they take the inputs and improvise.
Sir, hello.
Yeah.
I asked this question. So my question also was, when we purchase the product, why do they recommend the same product again? Also,
okay.
Regarding.
Okay, so if that is happening, if you purchase the product and they recommend the product again, that definitely means that they don't have a good system in place. They have not flagged that very well. The very high chances because they are showing a recommendation based on the cookie, based on the Google ads they have, and then they have a broken system. When you purchase, they did not update the Google ads or the recommendation system or the cookie that you have purchased this item. Because when in the cookie and all, it's not the user ID per se, it is the user session on the computer which is being used. So you may have purchased it on the same device. In that case, it is broken system. You might have purchased in another device, in which case they are using a different IDs or cookies ID for you. That's the question. But again, I've done advertising for 7 years. I know a lot of you mentioned that advertising is junk, but I can tell you, people love advertising. Huh? So sometimes you don't realize this, but yeah, and that's how the advertising is there. System is there. Anyway, declining trend in demand of data scientists. Is there a declining trend? Anurag, I would not say so. Right? There's a declining. There's a great resignation we just passed through, and surprisingly, a great layoff now is coming. Right? So I don't see there is a declining one. In fact, during significantly, our team was 14,000 employees, 14,000 employees just 2 years back. Now it is 26,000 employees, almost double in 2 years. I'm only talking about insights and data. The team in Capgemini who only focus on data science, data analytics, data engineering, and all those. So there is definitely a upward trend. This is what my feeling is. But yes, right now there's a resignation, so it will affect all the industry. So a lot of people want to do data science, don't know programming. Does that work? Srinivas, the question is very valid, right? People don't want to do data science, don't know programming. I don't think programming per se is required for data science. A lot of non-program, a lot of BCom, BA guys also I've seen doing this, but you guys are engineers, you definitely can do programming. But don't think it as a programming problem. Think of it as a data science problem. So your ability to understand data, your ability to challenge, your ability to get meaning out of it, that is what is required. But of course, Python is required. You have to write program and so on, but you don't need programming skills. Python is, some of you may have tried, it's the simplest language I've ever seen in my 27 years career. It took me some time to learn Python because I was like, oh yeah, like one line and it's done. I was surprised actually. It took me, my mindset was all about, I would like to have loop, I would like to have 10 lines of code in Java or 20 lines of code in C to get this thing done. And I write one line in Python and it's done. That's how fast it is, right? So it is very, very good and simple, especially for non-programmer. But I would say definitely it's not zero programming, but don't have that mental block. I can tell you that. Try it out. Python, it will work. Don't approach it from a programming problem. Approach it from a data science problem. Is data science should be only career or should have also skill from other degree with data science and extra skill? Mehak, I would always recommend data science as add-on skill. Let's say if you have chosen mechanical or if you have chosen electronic or you have chosen electrical, you might have really thought about it before choosing it. If it's your favorite topic, if it's something near to your heart, make data science as a secondary skill. But if you happen to take that accidentally, or somebody forced you to do it, or you didn't have a choice, you just wanted to get into IIT or whatever the reason could be, right? In that case, this might be a good time to flip over and say, data science is my primary. You have to choose, it is your decision. I would say my recommendation, I've already given the formula normally I apply. Like if I'm passionate about certain things, I'll use that as primary. For example, my passion was working for Microsoft. I joined Microsoft, worked there, and all. My passion was getting into one of the teams. One of the team was mobile advertising in Microsoft. When during my interview, they asked me, do you know advertising? I said, no. Do you know mobile? I said, no. Sorry, we cannot hire you. They rejected me outright. Within 1 month, I went back to the same team. Hey, this is a solution I created for you. Based on artificial intelligence, I can recommend better advertisement for your users. They said, wow, this is really good. And then immediately they hired me. But then they said, Mukesh, there is no product manager role. At that time, I was a product manager. There was no group product manager role for you, Mukesh, but there's a test manager role. But what was my primary goal? Get into this team of mobile advertising. So I took a test manager role also, right? So you have to decide what is your primary goal and accordingly select your skill. If your primary goal is mechanical engineering, go for mechanical engineering job, but data science will definitely help you get better jobs in engineering so far, by the way. At entry level, Hari, I already talked about the you to think about, can you come up with the idea? Can you work on your things about how things work? Can you give more value from data? If you can come up with all those parts, Hari, you will be able to find those skills for you. Especially at the fresher or entry level, They're not asking for rocket scientists. They're not asking for anything and everything you should know. They are only expecting you, do you know the basics? Would you be able to come and do it? Do you have that curiosity? For example, if I give you a date, let's say 6th of November, if I give you a date 6th November 2022, how many data points can you extract out of that? And remember, if the question is asked by Mukesh, right? The answer is not as simple. Okay, 6th November 2022, Sunday, no. 11, no. Those are very simple answers, which you don't need to be an engineer. I could have asked this question to a third standard person and they would have given the same answer to me. No, you need to be more creative. What are things you can extract? Those are some of the skills people will expect in data scientists more than knowing the actual algorithm and all, which you will know anyways when you are learning data science from any institute, any course which you're going through. Because most company hiring data scientist jobs aren't really working on data. I think this is actually true. In fact, a lot of the company, even after hiring data scientists, that's struggling to get somebody working because the mindset is not there. Think about it. How often did you hear about data during your school education, during your +2? How often have you heard about data? I would say no, you have not heard the word data. Why? Because it is not there. That's why the opportunities are huge. Not many people are talking about that. Okay. What example? So what else silent listening can you give that companies are using? Silent listening, your activity, your inactivity. Let's say you open an app, and what location you were there. One example I will say about a year back. I don't remember exact date. I was coming back from Paris. I landed in Mumbai around 2 p.m. and I was trying to book Uber. It was showing much higher price than the normal price. So I went to Ola. I did not kill the application. I went to Ola and then decided it gave me a better pricing. I booked Ola and left. Within few seconds, after I left, within few seconds, maybe 2 minutes. Within 2 minutes, I got an SMS saying that you tried to book Uber, you did not book. Can you give a feedback? Sure. Click the button, link, ask me one question. Why did you not book it? Gave me 5 reasons. I selected one reason. Price was too high. Within few minutes, I got an SMS. 300 rupees coupon for your next ride. That's it. Done. What was Uber doing? Uber was silent listening. What was it listening? Mukesh tried to book, and it has probability. It knows that Mukesh normally books it there, and then normally takes a ride even in the middle of night from airport to his home. This time he did not take it. That was his it's data, but it also had the silent listening, which was location. My location was changing because Uber app was on. Silent listening of my change in location. They determined that Mukesh is not walking, Mukesh is in a vehicle. So it looks like we have lost opportunity. Let us ask question to Mukesh if he's ready to give. Silent listening example. And there are hundreds of those. Your ability to come up with an idea to silent listen is also important for you to notice. Okay. Any other thoughts? Any other questions? So I think we are out of time already. I have another meeting in 8. We can talk about those. We are currently enrolled in full-fledged data science degree. Will further studies in the field be better than getting the job in running? Chet, definitely, if you're already enrolled, that definitely is good. What I would recommend is do a lot of reading on top of the scheduled syllabus. Learnings from LinkedIn, Medium, a lot of articles are available of how other companies have solved the problem. Okay, will there something coming next to data science in future? Kunal, I am not an astrologer. I wish I was, but data. I was in the data 23, 25, 25 years probably. That time data analytics and all AI and nothing was hot. So I was in this area without knowing that this will be a hot topic. But after coming back to India 11 years back, then I realized that it could be a hot topic. I created India's first ever business analytics course for a business school called Vanguard Business School 11 years back, and 11 and a half years back, and I started delivering those first ever course in India. So definitely there's a big things coming now. To die, it's going to be there for a long time. I don't know what the next one would be, but I would say definitely something more to do human interaction will be there. I would say mind reading or something, those could be in this area. We can think about that as well. So quantum programming is going to actually, it will be a big boon to data science, by the way. With sustainability and all, quantum will be able to do faster processing of those. Which is better role, data science role, factor, core manufacturing sector? Okay, I would say, Kisle, depending on what your passion is, core manufacturing sector is running faster. They are growing fast. You may be able to get their better roles. High importance is to know knowledge of high cloud with respect to Utpal, this is endless thing. There are thousands and thousands of things you need to learn, right? You don't have enough time to do it. Try and focus on one of the area, two of the area, and you should be fine. Find out the role which you enjoy. If you're not sure, look at the job description. Look at the job of cloud engineer. Look at the job of some of those, and then find out which one sounds interesting, and then go for it rather than taking. Because see, there'll always be few people will be on a good in some area and not so good in other area. There will always be roles which are very exciting for some people and not very exciting for other people. So there's no one rule. For example, if engineering was everything, why are still people going for MBA? Why are still people going for medical? Why are people going for BCom? Right? It's not right, because it's what you really want. If you're comparing between financial sector and core manufacturing, I would say short-term financial sector, long-term manufacturing. Manufacturing is growing. So you may not get the right salary which you want now, but financial sector, you can get right salary. It is already in near maturity stage. You might be able to make good money right now. But if you want to go, if you love manufacturing, if you're done mechanical, and if you want to stay there for long, or if you want to do some your own business in manufacturing, in that case, start with manufacturing. You learn less salary, but long term you can make more money. Mahito is very good question. Personal question. Did you ever feel bored during a long professional journey? Multiple times. Multiple times I felt bored. What did I do? I changed my manager. I've done all type of jobs in my career, except sales until 4 years back. When I was hired at Capgemini, people were asking, why are you leaving a product management job and taking a product company job and taking a salary cut to join Capgemini? I was getting bored in product. I'm building something product which I use by 200 million users. Outlook, 300 million users. Geo, 300 million users. I built this product, large products and all, which I use by millions, and I was getting bored out of that. I wanted to join a company, consulting company, where I can work with a customer and do something differently. So I was getting bored, so I changed the company. This is my professional journey. Each person has a different way of doing it. There are people who have stayed in the same company for 20 years also. I get bored. You might say I worked in 13 years in Microsoft. Yes, but how many times I've changed jobs within Microsoft? Every 1.5 to 2 years, I've changed a job in Microsoft. All experience. Anyway, lots of students like me are 35 plus age and from the various industry. Do you think age plays a criteria while hiring? Hari Shankar, I want to say no. That's it. I want to say no. I don't think age plays a criteria. I joined this company, Capgemini, at my age of 45 years. So definitely, you know my age now. I joined Capgemini at the age of 45. Okay. I still get some good offers to me. So I don't think age plays a criteria. What you bring to the table. But if your title and if age is disproportionate, for example, even after this experience level of 27 years, if my title was manager, I think I should not expect good roles after that, or I should not expect any roles after that, because people say, hey, managers, people get manager into 3 years, 5, 7 years, 10 years experience level. You are at this level, experience level. Why are you still a manager? Which means there's a question mark on me. So that is something which plays a bigger role. Guys, I'm out of time. I really wanted to answer all your questions. I hope this session was useful to all of you. Thank you very much. Do connect with me on LinkedIn. Happy to stay connected. This is my LinkedIn address or Facebook address. Do that. I loved interacting with you. I hope in future we might have opportunity to meet face to face if there's an opportunity. We'll see. Thank you all. Back to you, moderator. Okay. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you so
Looks
much,
like,
sir. It was a very
thank you.
informative, insightful session. And most importantly, what I learned is to get the clear-cut thought process should be very clear. And that reflected upon my mind while I was listening to you. So thank you for this session.
That's great to hear that, Yogendra. Thank you. Okay, thank you all. Best of luck. Bye.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you.